I was sitting on a plane one time in the Seattle airport, headed for a business trip to Fairbanks, and the guy across from me leaned over and he said, "Have you been to Alaska before? It's a knockout place." I had been to Alaska before, and I did know it was a knockout place because I spent 2 years in the Army in Kenai, Alaska, Wildwood Station, an Army security agency post, where as an enlisted man, I would be in my bunk up on the second floor, and it would be 0 or below, the wind blowing, the northern lights shooting overhead, and I would read. A bunch of the boys were whooping it up at the Malamute Saloon. The kid that handles the music box was hitting a jagtime tune. Back of the bar, in a solo game, sat Dangerous Dan McGrew, and watching his luck was his Lido-Love, the lady that's known as Lou. When out of the night, which was 50 below, and into the dinning glare, there stumbled a miner, fresh from the creeks, dog dirty and loaded for bear. He looked like a man with a foot in the grave and scarcely the strength of a louse, but he hoisted a poke of dust on the bar and ordered drinks for the house. None could place the stranger's face, though we searched ourselves for a clue, but we drank his health, and the last to drink was Dangerous Dan McGrew. And that, of course, is the Robert Service poem, The Bard of the Yukon, Robert Service poem, The Shooting of Dan McGrew. Here's another one. Listen to the poetry in back of this. Were you ever out in the great alone when the moon was awful clear, and the icy mountains hemmed you in with a silence you most could hear, with only the howl of the timber wolf as you camped there in the cold, a half-dead thing in a stark dead world, clean, mad for that muck called gold, while high overhead, green, yellow, and red, the north lights swept in bars? Then you've a hunch what the music meant. Hunger and night and the stars. Okay, question? Yes, sir.
Was Robert Service himself a gold miner?
Service was a banker. He was born in England, raised in Scotland, knocked around North America. He was in L.A. and San Francisco for a while. And then he went up to Victoria, Canada, Vancouver Island, and then knocked around as a banker to Kamloops and then Dawson City and then Whitehorse. And Sam McGee was one of his customers. And when Sam McGee found out that his name showed up in the poem, The Cremation of Sam McGee was not happy because it was used without permission. The major period of the Klondike Gold Rush in Canada and Alaska was about 1897 to 1899. Robert Service came along just a little later, maybe about 1905. And his poems really captured the spirit of that era when he talked about things like the dirt, the drinking, the danger, the cold, the gold, the whiskey, the women, the loneliness, the tiredness, and the promise of the Klondike and Alaska and Canada. Who made money in the Klondike Gold Rush? The few and the early. If you were not there in the beginning, forget about it. All of the good claims were staked out, and you were not going to do well. But there was money to be made, and who made it? It tended to be the hotels, the restaurants, the food markets, the clothiers, the brothels, and the people who supplied the sluice pans and the picks and the shovels to the miners. So in the Klondike Gold Rush, ironically enough, they tended to be the merchants who made more money than the miners ever did.